the skyrocketing cost of living.
What the hell is going on in Canada right now? Tell me why I come home to Newmarket, Ontario, the suburbs of Toronto, and I'm shocked at the cost of living here.
With all the people that continue to immigrate to Canada, let alone people that live here, that were born here, it is very unaffordable these days in the market that we are living in.
I was skipping meals, basically, because I was struggling to afford my food and my rent.
It's just sad. I think I wasted my life, kind of.
Canada's reality today is a far cry from the hopeful, welcoming image it once radiated.
Long touted as a nation that welcomes immigration and is ripe with opportunity.
Under the surface, the country faces intertwined crises, a perfect storm of housing shortages, skyrocketing living costs, and shifting public opinion on immigration that are reshaping what it means to live in Canada.
I'm 28 years old. I work in the creative industry as a filmmaker and an editor.
From many Canadians and newcomers, life here is becoming increasingly challenging.
It's really worrisome to think about people who are maybe less fortunate or have fewer resources. If it's hard for us, it's that much more hard for people who have less.
Just a few years ago, renting a 2-bedroom apartment in Toronto cost about $2,400 per month. Fast forward to today, the same apartment rents for up to 25% more.
It doesn't make sense. Whatever's happening now doesn't make sense.
My rent's going to be increased from $2,100 a month to $2,400 a month for a 1-bedroom condo in Toronto.
Such price jumps aren't limited to Toronto. The entire housing market is in flux, with rent and home prices climbing faster than wages. In most major Canadian cities, earning double the minimum wage to afford a simple 1-bedroom apartment has become the norm. For many, homeownership is now an unattainable goal, even for high-income earners. In Toronto and Vancouver, 2 of Canada's biggest cities, the income required to secure a mortgage has doubled or tripled the median household income, leaving even those in the top 10% struggling to buy a home. But the housing crisis is only a part of a broader economic strain. Inflation has led to soaring prices for essentials such as groceries, transportation, and energy. Many Canadians are feeling this pinch acutely, with more people living paycheck to paycheck.
You gotta make ends meet. Whatever fits the budget is whatever I'm eating for the day.
This pressure, especially in the middle class, is reshaping public sentiment, as economic stability, once a hallmark of Canadian life, feels increasingly out of reach. These affordability issues have for the first time turned public opinion against immigration, a cornerstone of Canada's identity. Canada has long been known as a nation built by immigrants. In the mid-1800s, Canadian leaders recognized that their vast western territories needed to be populated and developed, so they began encouraging skilled farmers and laborers from around the world to come to Canada. Through campaigns promoting Canada as a new El Dorado, settlers arrived, and the population surged from 3 million to 9 million by 1920, spreading from the East Coast to the Great Lakes and beyond. While Canada's early immigration system had racial biases, post-World War II, reforms shifted the country towards a merit-based point system, where potential immigrants are evaluated based on skills, education, and other criteria that determines their economic contribution to Canada.
Nations around the world, like Canada, Australia, and many others, have a merit-based immigration system. It's a basic principle that those seeking to enter a country ought to be able to support themselves financially. Yet in America, we do not enforce this rule, straining the very public resources that our poorest citizens rely upon.
For decades, this system worked smoothly, bringing in talented people from all over the world and earning international praise. By 2018, 2/3 of Canadians believed that immigration was beneficial for the country, a remarkable figure compared to the other OECD nations. However, public sentiment on immigration has shifted dramatically in recent years, largely due to economic factors.
It's time for a change in this country, my friends, a real change!
When Prime Minister Justin Trudeau took office in 2015, Canada was facing labor shortages in several sectors, including healthcare, construction, and skilled trades. Like many Western countries, Canada has an aging population, and it's aging quickly. In 1971, 7 working-age Canadians supported each senior citizen, By 2036, that number will drop to 2. This demographic crisis meant Canada needed more workers not just to sustain economic growth, but to provide basic services as well. Trudeau's government saw immigration as the solution, setting ambitious targets to bring in nearly 500,000 new permanent residents per year between 2023 and 2025, with a focus on high-demand sectors. However, these ambitious targets soon collided with Canada's housing and infrastructure challenges. Even before this increase, Canada's immigration offices were already struggling with a backlog of over 2 million applicants. Rapid population growth drove housing prices and rent even higher, worsening an already critical housing shortage. In 2023, Canada's population growth rate hits highest point in almost 70 years. Some influential groups, such as the Century Initiative, advocated for an even more aggressive approach, proposing that Canada aim for a population of 100 million by the end of the century.
We are here today because Canada is broken. Our kindness and generosity has given way to naivety and weakness.
This vision, supported by former prime ministers and the key Trudeau advisors, saw immigration as a strategic race for global talent that Canada couldn't afford to lose.
Canadians are justifiably proud of our immigration system. It has made our economy the envy of the world. It's how we've built strong, diverse communities. It's how we've demonstrated that differences can and must be a source of strength.
Yet, as public opinion polls show, Canadians aren't on the board with these lofty goals.
Why are we bringing in so many people if we know for a fact that we don't have housing for them?
The percentage of people who believe immigration levels are too high rose from 27% in 2022 to 58% by 2024.
That's sort of a known fact, right? That there's just not enough housing. The immigration here is like crazy.
As housing and living costs push more Canadians to question the government's approach, Trudeau's approval rating, which was among the highest of any prime minister in 2015, has come down to 33%.
Polling numbers are pretty bad right now. They're as bad as they've ever been for your government since you took power in 2015.
As the 2025 federal election looms, only 26% of Canadians currently support him, marking a sharp decline in public confidence. In response, Trudeau announced plans to reduce immigration targets to slow population growth. He acknowledged that his administration underestimated the long-term strain rapid population growth would place on Canada's housing and public services. Housing remains the most visible crisis in this story.
You should be able to afford a house.
In theory, we should, yeah.
In reality,
not so
much.
The
shortage of affordable housing is felt across Canadian society.
For the first time, we're really seeing folks at median income or 120% of median income not being able to enter the rental market.
But the strain is most acute among vulnerable groups like student and low-income families.
Deal, but they've just raised it by about $300 every month.
Caution, caution, caution. Please do not come to Canada. I'm just giving you an example. 25 students, international students from India, they were just sharing one basement unit, no windows, no lights. This is the current situation here in Canada.
City officials reported that such living conditions are not rare and represent a broader housing issue. Canada's temporary resident foreign workers and international students now number around 2.8 million, almost double the 2022 figure. This rapid growth has compounded the existing housing crisis, making immigration a newly controversial topic for the first time in recent history. The implications of Canada's population boom extends far beyond housing. Healthcare and education systems are straining under the pressure.
We are currently in a healthcare crisis and in a significant nursing shortage, so we really needed to get creative.
While immigrants have traditionally been seen as contributors to Canada's economy, the sheer number of newcomers is now testing the limit of public services. Wait times in healthcare, particularly for specialists and emergency services, have become a growing concern as hospitals struggle to keep up with the demand. Similarly, schools are facing overcrowding.
Well, classrooms are already packed and now there's not enough space out on the playground.
And high school students are describing chaos when it comes to their class sizes.
Everyone's shoulder to shoulder, very, very stuffed.
With some districts grappling to accommodate the influx of young students. Where Canada was once proud of its openness.
We don't care where they're from. If they've got technical skills, if they're willing to work, if they're able to work with numbers, bring them in.
Some Canadians now worry that the country may have taken on more than it can handle.
The country does not need another million Uber drivers and Tim Hortons workers.
Let's get more people in because we have a demographic problem, but let's not we should have also done the hard work of where are we allocating them?
This strain has intensified economic inequality, especially in high-cost urban centers. The percentage of Canadians who see their country as extremely unequal has risen sharply, doubling from 19% in 2019 to 38% in 2024. The rising cost of living is no longer an abstract economic issue, but a visible day-to-day struggle for millions of Canadians.
When will this government step up and force these CEOs to finally lower their prices?
By 2024, 84% of Canadians said that the cost of living had worsened in recent years, a significant jump from the previous surveys. For many, this situation has eroded the sense of fairness and stability that Canada is known for, creating new divides. As the 2025 election approaches, Trudeau government is grappling with how to address these pressing issues while restoring public trust.
Our government is going to do everything in our power to make sure prices stabilize.
Canada's housing and cost of living crisis, once manageable policy changes, have grown into defining issues of his administration. The decision to scale back immigration targets may slow population growth, but it's only a temporary fix for a much larger set of challenges. Addressing the housing shortage, supporting public services, and managing economic growth while retaining Canada's exclusive value will require complex and possibly unpopular choices. Canada's story isn't over, but its challenges today reveal a changing nation. The decisions Canada makes now will shape the country's future, potentially transforming its identity, its economy, and its society. These pivotal moments will likely leave lasting marks, determining whether Canada can maintain its reputation as a welcoming and prosperous nation in an increasingly interconnected world. Thank you for watching and subscribe for more. I'll do my best to bring you more of videos like this.